Hi there, I'm Matt Hopper, co-founder and creative director of Trisonic. We're a media buying and creative audio agency. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you why you should adapt your audio creative depending on where and how you're going to use it to optimize listener engagement and maximize the chance of success. And then I'm going to give you some practical examples of how to adapt your creative. We're going to look at new technology and how that's increasing creative opportunities in the audio space, and some particularly exciting developments happening right now in immersive 3D audio. I will be playing some 3D audio later, and to get the effect, you will need to be wearing headphones or earphones. So please grab some earphones and stick them on now. I promise you, it will be worth it. Now, in the world of creative, there's quite often no one right answer. So you may not agree with everything I'm going to say, but hopefully there'll be something here which might inspire you to look at audio creative differently in the future. It's not totally comprehensive. I will be leaving stuff out. I can't cover everything in 15 minutes, obviously. And actually quite a lot of what I'm going to say is common sense anyway. I promise you, I don't have a lot of stats, just a couple. There's been an enormous amount of growth over the last few years in digital audio. So this is not linear DAB radio, which is technically digital. This is audio delivered to devices with IP addresses, like smartphones, cars, and smart speakers. 31 million listeners a week at last count. Things like streaming services, and indeed podcasts. And what's happening is advertisers that use a mix of linear radio and digital audio are using the same copy on both. And that means potentially they're not making the most of the digital audio medium. Despite the exponential growth in digital audio over the last 3 years, the trend is actually increasing. These figures represent copy delivered by audio track over the last 3 years, and the key bars to look at are the blue and the red. The blue is where the same copy aired on linear and digital. The red is where different copy was produced especially for digital. And as you can see, the amount of shared copy is increasing, while copy produced just for digital is staying at around 5%. In fact, it's decreased. This is during a time when digital audio listening has grown by something like 30%. Okay, so we know a lot of advertisers are playing the same copy everywhere, so why not? What's the problem? Well, forgive me for this analogy, but in the world of outdoor, and in fact all visual advertising mediums, creative adaptation is the norm. Here's a lovely Vodafone 96 sheeter in one of Global's top London locations. And here's what the same copy would look like in a bus shelter. Not so good, eh? Of course, they did adapt it, and it looked great. Here it is. So we can clearly see that adapting visual ads for different locations and applications makes sense. But why do we need to adapt for digital audio? The way I see it, it's all about soundstage. Here's linear radio in action.
Fantastic ABC from 1982 in the look of love. So the next few minutes go like this. Some important words from the sponsors. DeBar's Rhythm of the Night. And then tonight's confession. I think we've got it to a PG, but I can't be certain.
Greatest hits radio. The Wi-Fi's down. Wi-Fi down.
It's still consumed largely through speakers, often in pretty busy environments. And that's why media owners process their radio output for maximum punch. They use a lot of audio compression to make the quiet bits louder so everything gets heard. And when we mix a radio ad, we have to make sure it stands out too. So again, we add compression. The effects and the music are turned up so we grab the attention. Think of it as the audio equivalent to your 96 sheeter. But digital audio is consumed very differently. I'm going to single out podcasts here, but a lot of this applies to streaming services too. 85% of podcasts are consumed not through speakers, but through what you're hopefully wearing now, headphones. If you aren't wearing them yet, please put them on. It's a more intimate listening experience. And media owners consciously turn down their processing on digital platforms because they know that highly compressed audio through earphones can be a real turnoff. Because the soundstage is not in a room. It's tiny. It's inside our head. So here's what it's like to hear an ad mixed for linear radio in the middle of a podcast.
But by the way, why would I tell you that if A, I was afraid what you might do with that information, or B, I'm really not invested in you.
The Wi-Fi's down. Wi-Fi down! This is broadband rage. It happens when your internet drops out and the red mist descends.
It's brash, it's loud, it's a real turn-off. And that's why quite a few podcasters don't like taking spot ads, but there's another way around that, more of which in a minute. So assuming I've convinced you to adapt your copy for digital, how do you do it? And does it mean massively pumping up the production budget? Actually, the belief that it may cost a lot is probably one reason why so many advertisers do use the same copy everywhere. But adapting your copy need not cost very much at all. And the added reward from making that extra investment will pay for it many times over because the listener is more engaged. So at the most basic level, what can you do? Well, first, let's look at voice. A simple change of delivery style could be all it needs. As Anthony Hopkins would tell you, actors project their voice and accentuate their actions for stage, but in film, their actions need to be more subtle and their voice more moderated because, courtesy of the camera, we're right next to them. The same applies in audio ads, and I'm using a voice performance here from an ad we created for Old El Paso. Ramp it up for punch through for linear radio.
Want a fun new way to get the whole family into veggies? Then put them in a pocket. Old El Paso's tortilla pockets are sealed at the bottom, so they're mess-free and ready to pack full of Mexican flavour and tasty veggie goodness.
Tone down the performance and ease off the projection for digital audio.
Want a fun new way to get the whole family into veggies? Then put them in a pocket. Old El Paso's tortilla pockets are sealed at the bottom, so they're mess-free and ready to pack full of Mexican flavour and tasty veggie goodness.
Same applies to pace. Why not slow it down? Take out some words or create a longer execution. Make it more relaxed. It's the mode most people are in when they're listening to digital audio. And when it comes to the mix, the effects, the music, the compression, you're ramped up to 11 to be heard on linear radio.
Get together and make some noise. Launch into mess-free Mexican.
Pull them back too. Make them more subtle. If it's playing through earphones, it's all going to be heard perfectly well.
Launch into mess-free Mexican the veggie way with new tortilla pockets from Old El Paso.
So these are the kind of basic things we can do to make a spot ad more palatable to the digital audio audience. But there are times when a spot ad, even a toned down one, just doesn't cut it. You could, of course, buy a host read, but that comes with its own issues, a higher cost, longer lead time, and the fact they might not approve your product for their show. So, why not make an ad that sounds like a host read, but isn't, with the same kind of relaxed, informal, free-form delivery you get from a host, but delivered by a different voice? This is a hybrid of ad format that we're making a lot of now, and that's because they really do work. The Guardian, who've been podcasting longer than most, use the format. It's called the producer read. And with the producer read, there is simply no script. We give the voice a number of talking points agreed between us and the client, and they ad-lib their way around them. One advertiser that's really got into producer reads is Beer 52. Here's one of them.
OK, UK listeners, how about some free craft beer from Yorkshire's best breweries? Yorkshire's famous for many things: football, trains, beautiful landscape, but more recently, it's craft beer that's been added to the list. In celebration of Yorkshire's brewing expertise, Beer 52 are offering a free case of 8 craft beers from a selection of the best breweries in God's own country. All you've got to do is go to beer52.com/mindscape, cover the £5.95 postage, and Beer 52 will deliver them straight to your door. Each month they visit a different destination. They find the best small batch breweries, sample the finest craft beer on offer, and then carefully curate a case to be sent to lucky members. I've got one here. It's Northern Monk's Eternal Session. Oh yeah, delicious. If you don't like dark beer, you can always choose the light option. If the monthly beer club isn't for you, you can choose to pause or cancel anytime. Just go to beer52.com. That's the word beer, then the numbers 52.com/mindscape, and claim your free case of 8 craft beers now.
Now, to get that relaxed feel, you need to think about increasing your copy length. So, bucking the trend for short copy we heard about earlier. The ad you just heard was 60 seconds. So, that's the producer read. Now remember that figure I quoted earlier, 85% of podcast listening happens through headphones. Hope you're still wearing yours, by the way. Well, advertisers can capitalize on that by using immersive 3D audio. When radio was born, there was only mono. Everything came out of one speaker. Then came stereo, which is great, but you can only send sounds left or right. 3D immersive audio gives us that extra dimension that allows us to send sounds around you, above you, and below you. Binaural is the traditional 3D route, and it works by picking up sounds the way the human ear does, replicating our inbuilt ability to place sounds in 3 dimensions depending on the way they hit the ear. New technology allows us also to mimic that in post-production, creating a 3D effect from mono and stereo signals. To headphone listeners, it places them right in the center of your universe. It's hugely involving. Here's an example. This is part of an ad we produced for Sheffield City Council. Sheffield positions itself as the outdoor city because it has the Peak District in its city boundaries. So we used the sounds of the city and its surroundings for this ad. Here it is in standard stereo.
This is the buzz of a city, where outdoor adventure is just a breath away from a vibrant centre with a different kind of buzz.
And here's the same clip in binaural 3D.
This is the buzz of a city, where outdoor adventure is just a breath away from a vibrant centre with a different kind of buzz.
And here's something that's hot off the press for us. The first 3D ad ever to air in South Africa. It's just broken for Relicalm, an over-the-counter natural calmative medicine. And in the space of 30 seconds, we take you from chaos and stress to calm and relaxation.
Is stress doing this to your brain? It's time to get calm. Relicalm. Relicalm is a non-drowsy, non-addictive natural calmative which gives you 5 hours of calm and works within 30 minutes. So you can relax, take the edge off, and take on life's daily challenges. When stress bites, get calm. How calm? Relicalm. Get it over the counter at your nearest pharmacy or see relicalm.co.za.
So that's binaural. It's actually been around since the 19th century, believe it or not, and was first used by the BBC for audio drama back in the 1950s. So it works, but it's old technology and it does rely on headphone listening to get the effect. But there are exciting developments on the horizon in the form of Dolby Atmos. Through some kind of weird magic I don't understand, Dolby Atmos doesn't just allow us to place multiple objects accurately in 3 dimensions. The resulting audio file, embedded with metadata placing those objects, is designed to adapt to the device on which it's being played. So whether you listen on a home cinema system or a smartphone, you'll still get the 3D effect with or without headphones. Exciting stuff, and until recently it was only video streaming services that were adopting it. YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, to name but 4. But the drive to bring Dolby Atmos to audio-only services is being driven by the music industry now. Key artists are producing tracks in Dolby Atmos, and audio streaming platforms are starting to adopt it. You can already get it on Tidal's top-tier subscription. Apple are launching it under the name Spatial Audio, and there's pressure to get Spotify to follow, which it surely will. I wish I could demonstrate it to you now, but sadly the platform we're streaming this session on can't yet handle Dolby Atmos files. But it's coming, and until then, binaural is serving us very well in the 3D audio world. So to sum up, digital audio isn't just radio by another name. It's a different kind of audio medium that offers a different listening experience. The sound stage is smaller, the dimensions have shifted, and that's why it demands a different kind of approach. Thank you.